All right. Hi there, everyone. We have somebody really new, and I'm so excited because we've never spoken with an animal communicator before. So, Cheryl, can you tell us your full name and a little bit about you and how you work? And
Okay,
also,
well,
Eric, by the way, Eric, tell what how Eric came into contact.
I was doing my meditation before I started and clearing, and he showed up on an elephant holding on to its ears, and he says, "Please tell my mom I'm here and I'm making an interest." And he got me laughing because I'm a little
Which
bit
is
nervous.
really cool because Robert Burke, who's a dear friend and medium of mine, oh gosh, years ago, said, "Oh my gosh, Erik is on top of an elephant going across the telephone wire." So we got this thing for elephants, I guess. All right.
Yeah, as I was meditating, all my past dogs came through, and they're like, "You go, mom, you do this."
All right.
So,
All
um,
right. The floor is
so
yours, Cheryl.
okay, so I'm Cheryl Kolb. I've always had a connection since birth, and due to my upbringing, I kept it very hush hush. And I would say things out of the blue as a kid, like, I have to have children before I'm 23. My mom would look at me and, and just the weird things, or someone will say a comment and I'll say, oh, well, that person's not going to be here by then. And I just, just let it go.
That's
And
scary.
yeah, and I just let it go. And then I moved to a farm and I had chickens and I had cows. And as they would pass, I would get messages, if there was something wrong in the coop or something.
Oh,
And then I got really attached to Buzzette, and she was my little angel chicken.
chicken.
And
Oh,
so she helped me a lot. And then one day I walked in the coop and I had got some new ones, and I heard Claire say, "Well, aren't you going to call us by name?" And I went, "Okay." And then I would get a lot of messages from people, dogs that would pass over, and
yeah.
I would just call them up and say, "Hey, this is the message. What do you want to do with it?" And then one day I met you on a meeting with our friends, and I had asked about learning to do this better, and Erik came and said, "You already got it, do it."
Awesome.
So
Awesome. So, do you like to get messages mostly from, can you get them from living animals as well?
living animals are a lot harder because they're like toddlers.
Oh,
You have to build their trust. It's not an instantaneous thing. When they're passed over, they already know I'm in God's light,
yeah,
and I already got their approval, so they're already really trusting and let me go through.
that makes
And
sense.
the live ones, I do have a couple connections with my best friend's cat, but it's been years in the making.
Yeah.
But they have to build a trust. Any living animal has to build a trust with you to know that you're coming from the heart,
Yeah.
that you're not going to misinterpret what they say. And some live animals will tell you what the owners want to hear and not what
Oh,
they really need to hear.
oh, interesting. Well, what about working with missing pets?
I won't do that because my heart is so,
Oh,
I, it hurts
'cause
my
what if
heart
you,
so bad.
yeah, what if you hear that they're dead?
Right. And sometimes they're not actually dead. They're in, say they're in a lot of pain and they just leave their body for a while. So if you
Oh,
tell,
yeah.
so if
Yeah.
you tell the owner they're dead and they're just really taking a separation from their body and they come back and they show up 2 years later, I
Oh,
wouldn't want to put any human being through that.
no, God, no, I wouldn't either. All right. So, do you have any messages for anyone?
Yes, the first thing is that all the animals, I wanted to tell your viewers that when they did pass, either naturally or you had to call a vet, all of them came through and said you did the right decision.
Yeah.
Don't doubt yourself. So many people ask, you know, were they mad I put them down? Were they mad that I let
Yeah.
them cross over naturally? And all of them that come through to me, whatever decision was made was the correct
Oh,
decision.
no. That's,
So all
that's
you owners that had that decision to make, put peace in your heart. That's what they want.
so
And
how
when
do
they
they
had it
like the
any other
afterlife?
way.
Yeah.
Pardon?
How do they like the afterlife? Can they tell us a bit about what it's like over there for
Oh
them?
yeah, everyone, they say Rainbow Bridge, and some of us do that just for our own comfort. I have a dog that passed that she goes and helps animals that pass without owners.
Oh,
And
oh,
she keeps telling me, Mom, I'm too busy doing God's work. I'm too busy doing God's work. Some will create reincarnate, come back to you, but most of them prefer not to
oh,
because they'd rather watch over you or from the other side.
oh.
or if there was a really super duper bond, but then you expect them to come back maybe like the same color or something like that. And no, they learn, they progress, and they're a new energy.
Yeah. Do they have similar to the human experience? Do they have a situation where they also must spiritually evolve?
Yeah. Yep. And every time, some people believe they come back as human beings, or sometimes we choose to be, say in the future, my granddaughter grows up and I want to help her, I'll come back as one of her dogs.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Everybody has their own beliefs on that, but I truly believe that they do reincarnate,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've heard that they do too. So our current dog, Bella, she's a little Yorkie, just a little bit more than 5 pounds. She's so cute. I was told by Jamie Butler that she was the reincarnation of whoever was before Peanut, our Chihuahua, and that was our Weimaraner, Zoe.
Okay.
Zoe she was so amazing. Do you get
Um,
anything? Do you
yeah,
feel?
I'm getting that. She's like, don't have the same expectations. She said
Yeah.
there'll be little incidences where I will remind you of her, but I have a totally different job to do with you, Mom.
What was the job?
This job is totally different. She's going to try to help keep you focused. Last time, I believe that dog helped you through a lot of emotional,
Okay.
and this one's more to Erik just said kick you in the butt when you need it.
She really has been very healing for us after Eric's death too.
Yeah, but she said sometimes you get caught in a brain thought, and she'll like start barking at something just to snap
Oh,
you.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
don't get too deep sometimes because you have to come back out of it.
Yeah. All right. Interesting.
And Peanut's the one that came through before when I was meditating.
Right.
And Eric's daughter, him or her?
It's a her.
It's a her.
Yeah.
Eric's like, haha, Mom.
Oh,
He says, can I put her on the back of the elephant with me?
sure. There's a boss over there. Are you kidding me? And then we had a little min pin, uh, miniature pincher, Penny.
That's the one that came through yesterday. I kept
Oh,
like a dachshund.
it's like a miniature pincher.
Okay. It
Min
was
pin.
little longer body.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. That
Yeah.
one came through with the brown one.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I
Yeah,
tell
they were
Mom we're
buddies.
here.
They were buddies.
Yeah, one was more mischievous than the other.
Oh, they were both pretty mischievous, but I
No,
think
no, no. One always
probably,
tried to outdo the other one.
I don't know. Which one do you think, Eric?
He says it depends on what I told him to do.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool.
Um, I don't know. I think they took turns.
Oh, yeah, I think they did too.
Because one was saying, "Yeah, I got tired out and I just wanted to go to bed," and the other one would just irritate the heck out of me. And
Oh, yeah, that's probably Peanut because she was older, and
yeah,
Penny.
yeah.
Probably,
So it was like more like a sibling thing.
yeah,
Um, one really didn't like the other one to take too many naps.
yeah. So
So
we had an Italian Greyhound that was very uncharacteristic of one. She was not very shy. She was just rambunctious and energetic. Anyway, she ran out into the middle of a busy street. I don't know how she got out, but we got the call that, she was dead.
right.
That was very traumatic for all of us. She was a little
There,
gray and white, cutest little thing.
um, she like a certain animal that used to irritate her, like in the trees, chipmunks or squirrels.
Probably
That she,
squirrels.
um, that was the calling. That
Yeah.
was her exit point.
Oh, okay.
Um,
She probably chased a squirrel.
yeah, she did.
Oh, did she hurt?
And she's like my other friend's dog that passed that chased a squirrel and ended up like that. She said, Mom, I get to chase him over here, but I just can't kill him.
Oh, yeah, that's real good.
So she's like kind of bummed about that.
Oh, no.
She says, but God's like this going, no, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
they're already dead. Are you kidding me? They're in spirit.
Yeah, but they like the chase. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a game for them over there. And then she'll come back and watch over you guys. And then I'm trying to ask what her purpose on the other side is. She says she's just basically running off all that energy and helping other dogs like came over that like were paralyzed in the back ends and stuff.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's showing them how to run again, that they're
Oh,
no longer in their physical form.
well, that's
So
nice.
she's like a physical therapist on the other side for other animals.
Wow. Because
Yeah.
that's what happened to Zoe. We had to put her down because she had some sort of tumor in her foot that spread to her spine. And so eventually she just dragged and we found her just in her own poop. And so it was awful in the
She said you
backyard.
did the right thing. You did the
Yeah.
right thing. And no, sometimes when they have a physical ailment like that, that sometimes they bring it on to help you decide the exit point.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll get, like passed over pets. I had this one cat that kept like slapping her mom in the face, just before she was ready to pass,
Oh,
and like trying to say to her, hey, it's time. And
yeah.
then I also they had a dog that they couldn't find.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go there, but I knew the family real well. And I said, no, he has passed. And then you give them time to do their kind of like life review like we do.
Oh, yeah.
So
They
I
have
will
live
give them,
reviews, huh?
oh yeah,
Wow.
because they're not just animals.
Yeah.
They're energy.
Oh, yeah, of course. I love animals.
I mean,
More than people.
yeah, they live in the moment. They always live in the present on
Yeah.
earth. They don't worry about the past or, like a rabbit that's out there, their ears are up for a hawk or something, but they're not thinking about, well, tomorrow I'm going to die. They always live in the present.
That's awesome.
So they don't have much to do, but some of them say, hey, I want to go back to mom,
Oh,
or I want to, or grandma really needs me. Sometimes my one dog or my grand dog, he comes back, as a blue jay, a
oh,
blue. And he's like, oh, I'm watching over you. He likes to guard the outside. And I was just there recently. And I said to my daughter, I said, Daisy's here, her white dog that passed. She always would tell me, Grandma, it's not the age, because we really didn't know how long she was. I think she almost lived to be 19. She goes,
wow.
she's not the age, Grandma, it's the spirit.
Yeah.
So I said to my daughter, I said, Daisy's here. And Daisy would sneeze. And all of a sudden my daughter turns around, she goes, I heard her sneeze.
Wow. Oh my God.
So, I
That's so
mean,
cool.
now that I go to the dog park, now that I've took my classes, I'm learning the channeling, and I walk in the dog park and they call me the dog whisperer. And it's funny because I'll have, these dogs I've never seen before just run up to me and sit down and I'm going, I'm
Oh,
in love. And the other
they
day I
can
had like,
sense that you can
set the
communicate.
intention. Because I
Yeah.
have to practice. I have to practice and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and see what I can connect with them.
Yeah.
So, and so sometimes I'll just sit down on the bench and I'll, sort of like Mary Poppins and go, I want to speak to you. Can you please come here? I'm of good heart. I'm that. And some will look at me like, you're crazy, the dogs. And some will come right up to me and just sit right down. And I'm like,
Oh,
thank you. I'm practicing so I can do this better for everybody. And I had one dog, her name is Ginger, and she was throwing up that morning. And she said, tell Dad stop feeding me dairy.
oh, yeah.
And I
Wow.
said, well, don't eat it. And she's like, would you give up ice cream?
Oh, yeah, I know.
So,
I mean, if it's right in front of you, you can't, man. It's like, did that solve the problem?
she's like, well, yogurt don't count. And sometimes with the owners, you just gotta just give them the information.
Yeah.
It's not your dog or you're not your cat. And, but I've really been focusing on that. And I really like to do, if a person's dog has passed over, I ask to give me a month after they pass so they can see if they're, what their future holds.
Right.
Some of them will tell right away, hey, I'm going to come back in 10 years.
Yeah.
I had a lady the other day that I said, this dog that was really attached to your son before it passed, he's going to come back when he's in his 30s, just to him. And I said, he connected with him and not you. And she goes, yeah, you are correct.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
So, like, they're just like us. When we go over, we look at what we've done and what we want to accomplish in our future.
Yeah. Poor Peanut. She was just so, I think she was around 19 also, but our little Chihuahua, she was blind and she would just walk in the same loop around our backyard and like dementia almost like that and very weak, skin and bones. I think she must have had some sort of intra-abdominal cancer. because she lost so much weight. So we had planned to put her down on Monday. And so Annika, my daughter, put her outside to go out and pee, and my husband went out to get her, and she was in the pool, drowned. And she told us on the an e-board, which is Eric's version of a Ouija board, that she had already passed before she fell in the water. So,
Yeah, she did. And
Yeah.
she said she didn't want to put you through that.
yeah,
On Monday, was it? Next.
Monday, yeah.
She said no. She said, when she was doing circles, she was sort of doing like a her own little powwow.
Yeah.
Talking to the angel saying, come on, let's get this done,
Oh,
and she did like took her last breath and then felt her and went in
the pool. Now we have had a couple of cats too. One cat was the first cat was this Russian blue, so beautiful, Bluebell. And she came to us without claws, which is not good. But anyway, my daughter Michelle moved in for a while because they had mold in their apartment, and brought her clawed cats, and they terrorized her to the point where she would never come out. She would pee everything if you laid down a washcloth or whatever it was. And so we tried all sorts of like pheromones and kitty Prozac, and we took her to a cat behavioralist. And on the e-board, she said she wanted to go. So it really felt horrible. We put her down, a completely physically healthy cat. And
no, it was
awful.
It was very emotional. They were very bullying.
Yes.
And her self-worth went down.
Yeah.
She loves her life, but she does prance along your tables every now and then. And she'll knock something over or move it slightly, and you'll go ahead and go, Eric. And she's like, no, it's me.
Oh.
But she said, even animals have depression, have complexes of self-worth. And she said it was something that if you didn't do, she probably would have tried to escape and not come back.
Yeah.
It's that she loved you. She loved, I believe, your husband.
Yeah.
But she said it was something that she just couldn't live with every day.
Yeah, so it was the right thing to do to put her down?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
And then we had
Like she
Ringo.
said, she would have ran away, maybe got hit by a car or eaten by something.
Yeah.
She said that was more humane. And she's the one that says she's coming back to you.
Oh, good.
She said, but it's not with, how does she put it? Not as long as there's another cat in you.
Oh no, we don't have any more cats. But and then
somebody does that,
Pardon me?
She says somebody has a cat.
Okay.
That's close that may come visit.
Okay.
So
we have Ringo, a black cat, and we came back from a trip, and he was like his head in the water bowl, just licking, and he was just yellow. Anyway, took him in to get blood work, and everything was abnormal. His liver was essentially dead, his kidneys, everything.
I got liver right off the bat.
Yeah, but I don't know why he got that.
Toxins.
Yeah. From what? So weird.
Where were you living at the time, in the country or a city?
No, we were here, but he was an outdoor cat, and I think she got into a fight with a raccoon or possum or something.
I got more that there was like something going on, paving of a road or something that he wasn't supposed to be close to, that he ingested or inhaled, and it was like it spread like wildfire.
Anyway, we put him down right away because he was just miserable.
No, he said it went quick.
Yeah. Oh man.
Almost like it was almost like a blood poisoning.
Yeah, it's to affect all his organs. It happened.
Yeah, he said it was some kind of blood poisoning, but it was something that he did.
Yeah.
That he got into that he shouldn't have.
Okay.
So I'm really getting
something edible, like.
Actually, I'm getting like antifreeze, something like that.
Oh wow, we don't have any of that around.
Well, a lot of people leave that and they're laying around in their garage.
Oh well, it could be.
Yeah, he said it was his fault.
Yeah.
But it was like a blood poison and went quick.
That's the only thing about having animal companions. I like to call them animal companions rather than pets because, we always outlive them. And there's so much grief. And speak to that because a lot of people, I remember I had a patient who came in that was distraught because her animal companion died. She was embarrassed that she was so grief stricken. I said, no,
No, don't be.
babies, it's
Don't
like
be.
losing a child. So yeah, can you speak to that?
Yeah. They know we grieve and they want us to grieve.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was just Peanut that came through and said, you have to grieve the tears. I mean, just before I signed on, I had a nice good cry because all my past animals came and just gave me love and support.
Yeah.
And no matter if they come back or if they're just doing God's will, they always have that love connection to you. And even, animals that are abused, and we'll see the pictures and grieve for them, it brings awareness,
Yeah.
and when we grieve that, okay, I don't know who said it, Erik or Peanut, the harder we grieve, the more we love them.
Yeah. It's the price we pay for love.
Yeah,
Grief is.
it is.
And
And
you need to feel it. You don't want trapped emotions because that can create
no, they
disease.
say it to grieve. A lot of times, I did little memory boxes of mine. So every time I look over, they're not forgotten. And it is okay to say it was a child of yours. That's one of the biggest things
Maybe
over
they
there.
were too. You never know.
Yeah, I had a couple cows that we're meat cows, but I attached to them right away. And that was the next message I wanted to get out to you is that all the food we eat, it's all right if you eat meat or whatever, but the animal kingdom is really, really saying, just say thank you.
Yeah.
There is so much taken for granted now. I mean, my cows every day I went and gave them grain and everything. And I would say, I know your purpose and everything. And they said, that's okay. You appreciate us. You are thanking us. You are treating us really well.
That's what
And
Erik
so,
said. Same thing. He said, he said, I said, shouldn't we only be vegetarians? And he said, well, their souls too. They have just as much value as a soul of a cow. But you have to be sure that you raise them with gratitude, that you slaughter them or harvest them with gratitude,
yeah.
and you eat them with gratitude.
And the thing
It should be very
is,
sacred.
even if you get it from the grocery store,
Yeah.
please say thank you. Your chicken, your eggs, thank you for feeding my body nourishment. Sometimes I forget days in a row and also go, I didn't give thanks. And God gave put animals on the earth that eat meat, eat vegetables. We're just one of the animals, and we have to eat certain things to survive. But if you forget to say thank you and just take everything for granted, it's getting more and more negative in that realm that, they're feeling that their sacrifices are not being appreciated.
Yeah.
I had a cat that got lost, and I guess lady approached me a couple of years later. Well, she was eaten by a coyote.
Oh.
And I asked her how she felt, and she felt like she was honored to be nourishment for that animal.
Oh, wow. Oh.
So, it's all in their life contracts too.
Yeah. I saw this disturbing eagle cam video of this eagle dragging a domestic, it looked like bluebell, a Russian gray, a Russian blue with a collar on.
Yep.
Oh, a bald eagle. That was very disturbing.
Yes.
And the cat was alive still.
Yes.
We have a raptor shield.
We
have a special raptor shield of Kevlar on Bella.
Yeah, you have to. You have to,
Yeah,
because I lived on a farm, and eagles and everything would try to eat the chickens.
Yeah.
And I would not, my mom brought up her little doggies, and I'm like, you cannot leave them outside.
No.
You have to be present with them, because I have seen right in front of me, sitting on my swing, my chicken's 2 feet from 2 feet from my feet, and boom comes an eagle. Boom, there goes my chicken. And of course, it's one of my favorite ones because she's sitting by me. And all I seen was the plume of feathers on the ground.
Oh, it's awful. We used to have a bird feeder because we love to watch the birds and identify them and stuff. And it was really a great squirrel proof, but the squirrels still tried to But then hawks started coming, and
Yeah.
eventually, when we saw two little squirrel hands, we thought, no, I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you live out in the country, that's every day. We had an eagle's nest
Yeah.
50 feet from the chicken yard, so we ended up having to put that netting on top
Yeah.
because everybody knew if I lost a chicken, I was very emotional.
Of course. Oh, my daughter has chickens and loves them. Loves them.
Yeah,
So, one of my daughters.
you know, people say, "Oh, do you want to sell some so we can butcher them?" Not my chickens.
No.
And
But
it was funny because one time I got a run of chickens, and you don't know how many males and females you're going to get. Well, there was too many males in the coop, so I just put an ad out there saying, "Who wants some roosters? Please come and get them, but don't tell me what you're going to do with them."
oh yeah.
So I go out to the yard that day. This lady shows up, and I said, "Okay, who wants to stay and have a beautiful life, get in a chicken coop, and who don't care?" So two of my roosters went in, and the rest are all out. And then I said to the lady, "They're yours." I gave them an opportunity. They didn't take
Oh wow. Okay, good. That's funny.
and I didn't want to know. I know what in my heart, I knew what she was going to do,
Yeah.
but I didn't, but I had to make sure my flock stayed healthy,
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
So,
no, even chickens have energy. People are like, "Oh no," some of my family members, they have no souls. Yes, they do. We are all energy. We're not created or destroyed. And
a lot of people think it's weird to love a reptile like snakes. The daughter that has the chickens always had, not anymore, but had snakes and iguanas and all that stuff. And there are people that say, yeah, no, that's my best friend, or they really connect with these things.
But you guys still remember there's that wild point in them.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's got a half wolf, half dog.
Yeah.
And when he walks them, he puts a muzzle on him because you don't know at any point what's going to trigger that wild side in them.
Yeah.
Just like snakes, the constrictor type.
Oh God.
They know they do feel that you're a good caretaker and everything, but you don't know. Just something might spook them, and then they're going to constrict around you. So always keep it
around your baby in a crib. I would never have a constrictor.
No.
She had like ball pythons and things that are fairly harmless, I guess. But she doesn't.
But they still have their things, and I'm not saying anything bad about them because they have energy. They know who's good. They know who's bad. I learned in my last class that naming your animal has a lot to do with their attitude. Mm. So I learned from my teacher that this animal was named Devil or something like that, and so he thought he needed to act out on it. Oh. And then when she went to do a session with them, they changed the name to Spirit, and he changed.
Wow.
So when you name your animal, please think of what you're projecting.
Yeah. I tried to figure out my totem animal. I did it with muscle testing, and it's a horse. Horses are very interesting. If they only knew how powerful they were, they wouldn't. I don't know why they would let us ride them, or
because we need them.
Yeah.
When you ride a horse, you ground to Mother Earth quicker than you would on your own.
And equine therapy, I mean, it's
working. Yeah. For paraplegics and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It is working. And
autistic kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why? What's going on there?
Horses, they're magentic. They've been used in mythical realms.
Ooh. Yeah.
Like the unicorn. They have been, I would say, like after the dinosaurs, when the horses were created, they were connected to make things happen. Mm. And I found out there's actually a place in Greece that people go with depression and everything, that they actually stick the people out in the middle of the horse field and let the horses come to them until horses absorb and see and read us better than some animals do.
Yeah. And
knowing that they have this majestic, I don't want to say it this way, but I got to say it this way, favoritism with God.
Yeah.
Because that they're such beautiful creatures, and they were so helpful in the human development to get us places to grow our own food, that, not that they're the favorite, but they were gifted.
They're very special.
Yeah, very special.
We had a couple of horses, but mine, the lady who sold it to us put the saddle on wrong. And we were galloping up a cliff, and the saddle came off, and I went tumbling, had a helmet on, thank God, which had a crater in it. And it's like all I could see is hooves and ass just coming down the ground. And he rolled on me and broke some ribs and stuff. So we gave them to somebody else. But because I couldn't get over my fear of riding after that point. And but
He said he's sorry, but
oh,
part of it
he was
wasn't his fault.
depressed. I have a picture of him leaning against Eric's chest, all depressed.
Yeah. He
Erik
felt
was a
really,
good
really
rider.
bad because that wasn't the intention,
No, of course not.
you know.
Well,
But
it's fault.
they feel guilt like we do, like if, like if they let an animal out and something happens to it, they feel the same feelings we do,
Yeah.
you know.
But what was I gonna say? But anyway, when we would go to what we call the renter ranch where we boarded them, we would sit in the field and our horses only would come up to us. It was so cool. They knew us. It was
Oh
great.
yeah, they know you by your smell and your energy,
Yeah.
and they know they. I'm just hearing right now, when you're depressed or something, you elude a color or a sense that they feel.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're like wanting to give you, you know, more companionship. I just seen a horse come up to one of you and like go face to face, you know, when you just came to visit, like went nuzzle
Yeah.
to nuzzle. And that's because you needed that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
And I heard a couple of your horses, you would just come to ground.
oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
one thing that bothers me is seeing a bird in a cage. I just, it bothers me. Even if the cage is pretty big, it's just,
Yeah. That bothers me too. But some of them like that. And some of them are like, I hear mostly it's okay for the animals that can't fly and can't take care of themselves, but they prefer to be out,
yeah,
you know, and there's people that let them fly around the house and everything. And a lot of them will say if they had the chance, they would fly away. Not that they don't love it, the person,
yeah,
but
of course.
it's a freedom thing.
Yeah,
But just like us, we domesticate,
yeah.
hamsters and everything else. And
And
some
fish,
of them do
aquarium.
it.
What about that?
About what?
About fish in an aquarium?
They don't like it.
Mhm.
They could have the best aquarium. I cannot go to SeaWorld. I cannot go to them places because, you know, the energy, and there will only be like, I went one time and one had been injured and couldn't survive out in the ocean, and they were okay with it, but every wild animal wants to be wild.
I know. So anyway, that bothers me. Also, it bothers me that we like to go fishing. We're terrible at it, but we eat the fish we catch.
Yeah.
But I always feel awful baiting the live shrimp. And I'm so sorry. Thank you for your service.
Yep. No, I
But
just had a friend say, "You want to go fishing?" I said, "I can't bait a hook.
yeah,
I can't because I'm like,
but as long as you thank them and you
I
eat what
still
you
can't.
know, yeah,
I still can't. I'm like, I'll use, if I can't use fake worms or whatever, I can't go.
yeah,
I love casting because it's so calming. But
yeah, it is, it
I
is.
won't, and if there's a fish on it, when I did go fishing,
Artificial lures.
yeah,
Maybe I should
but
switch to that, but we don't catch anything on those because we don't know what we're doing.
I just like being out in Mother Nature and
Yes.
and and when we did bring them home to, there was always things, and I come from a family that hunted, and we never, I personally would always, when this is a secret, when I go out there to the hunting shack, I'd say, "Don't come by me because I'm not going to just
Yes.
stay in the woods,"
Right.
And no deer are coming out because you're here, and I'm like, I don't know why, because I didn't want to shoot one. I know
Yeah.
we needed it for meat, and I let the guys do that,
Yeah.
but I would just sit out there and
I was anti-hunting, but I took one of my kids to this dude ranch, the main dude ranch, and they had so many deer, and the father, the main guys, would not allow his boys to hunt. But so when he was on vacation, they would all hunt because it needed to be thinned. They started getting disease
yeah.
and all that. So
Well, they're gonna die of disease are on your table.
yeah, I know.
That's when when in Wisconsin they would say, "Hey, you got to take an extra 2 or 3 because
Yeah.
there's car accidents every day because they're just overpopulated." And now we got some kind of deer disease.
Yeah.
And, and that's part of us being human. God created things for us to maintain our healthy balance.
Yeah.
The only hunters I don't like are that do it for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to shoot something, eat it.
Yes. I don't,
You know,
just trophy animals. Oh my God.
no.
No,
I
no,
walked
no.
into a home once that had the guy purposely went all over the world. And I went back in my car and I sat there and I'm like, you're being unsociable. I can't do it.
No, absolutely not.
No.
I was gonna say, even weeding, I used to have a problem with weeding, taking weeds out of the garden. But Eric said it's like a haircut. It's a
Yeah.
part of a collective, so don't worry about it. So okay.
Yeah, he kind of said, yeah, mom. And he just went like this with his hair. He says, oh, speaking of that, I need a haircut.
Oh God. You always needed one, just about.
Yeah, no, it's all part of culture, you got to do what you got to do to keep things growing because weeds are going to overthrow what, say maybe they're overtaking your flowers that
Yeah.
pollinated the bees.
Right. Oh yeah. That makes
So,
sense.
and we're really, really in need of keeping our bees alive,
Oh God, yes.
you know.
Bee collective say to you.
They stop using the chemicals, stop using the
Oh
chemicals.
no, I know.
You know, one year we planted 15 acres of just sunflowers, and everyone's like, what are you going to do with them? And we said, we're just going to leave it for the animals. And that was the first time I seen bees, bumblebees and pollinating bees that I've seen in a long time. Now I lived in the country and you'd think that would be an everyday occurrence. And then come fall and winter, that fed the deer. And by spring, we didn't have, the field was bare. Turkeys, everything,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, you didn't make no money on that. Well, we did. We didn't make money. We
Right.
made, we made a conscious effort to help the environment.
Right. Right.
So the bees
So
they're worried. They're really worried. I mean, I have this queen bee. She's saying she's a queen bee. Not in the sense that we know, but the representative.
right.
And she's showing me like airplanes just dumping so much chemicals.
Oh God.
And then when they go out into the forest or into the meadows, I'm trying to hear what she's saying. She said it's not even safe out there anymore.
Ugh.
Because people go out there and they like put on, I'm one that has to put on, mosquito spray and stuff. And they say even that rubs off on the plants,
Oh wow.
you
And
know.
sunblock on the
Yeah.
destroying the coral reefs, and the green the solar, not the solar, but the windmills. They're messing up the whales, and and then
Yeah.
they're killing bats, which are very important, and birds.
Right.
It seems like they do more harm than good.
Yeah, they do. And I'm very, very, one thing I didn't mention about myself, I've been very, very connected to Mother Earth for at least 10,000 years.
Oh wow.
And I actually got to do a meeting with a person and
Very well preserved. I'm kidding.
yeah. Oh, I was a guy a few times too, and who else knows what. And but I kept saying, why can't I leave Mother Nature alone? When I'm walking, I'm always talking. When I was a kid,
Me too.
my siblings would be playing baseball and I'm up in an oak tree hiding out, And I had to do a little bit of my past lives to find out why am I so connected. And Mother Earth is, I guess, I really want to see this earth go back to what it once was.
Yeah.
And I may not be fighting in other ways, but by talking to the animals, I'm giving more love out there to them.
Yeah.
She's very happy. And then, I'm telling you, people, hug a tree, take your dog on the leash and go up and hug a tree with your dog. That energy will flow through you and calm your dog.
Yeah.
And she loves her animals. And she loves her ocean creatures and everything. And so she's a wonderful, wonderful.
She's a very wise being, very wise celestial being. And she is part of my divine team that I use for scalar work. We were in Kerrville camping, and there was this bee hive that rightfully the guy didn't want, everybody wanted him to take it down, but Thank God he didn't. But the bees, we would keep them away so we wouldn't get stung
Right.
by putting like a bounce sheet on our chair. And that works. But this one bee just kept on coming to us and looking at my face and then going away and looking very curious. They're curious little things. It was so cool.
No, that be no knew you. That bee knew you.
Oh wow, that's interesting. But it has a little cute personality.
I'm trying to think. You had a dog. Did you have a dog that was always childish, like and playful?
Probably Penny, the min pin. And she was dead, but by the time that bee came around, so it could be.
No, that was her.
Wow.
In
You know,
spirit.
sometimes right after they died, I see them in my peripheral vision.
Oh yeah.
Or you'll hear their bell on their collar tinkling. It's really cool. Or
yeah.
you feel the bed go down, the footy bed go down like somebody was sitting there.
Or you hear them sneeze.
Yeah, in that case.
No, depending on the energy of the house, it is more prevalent. If you can get more of a calm,
Yeah.
you can get more of a apparition is what I call it. And sometimes animals like to come in as orbs.
Wow, that's cool.
You know, my grand dog, he comes in as a blue orb.
Oh.
And when we're, they were having problems with bears because she lives out in the country. And also we look out the window and they're like, Grandma, come look at this. There's this blue light.
Oh, wow.
The grandkids and I'm like, because every night about that time the bear came. I says, well, he's scaring the bear off.
Oh,
his name was Riley. He's scaring the bear off. And that night he went to my daughter. He says, "I'm outside protecting you guys."
Oh, that's cool.
So they'd always come back. But if you see like the shadow of them, one person that I just did a thing for, their dog sits in the driver's seat or the passenger seat.
Just Bella.
Hi, puppers. I call them all puppies. She sits in the passenger seat and she was a Saint Bernard. So every once in a while, he thought his car was malfunctioning because they would say you had to put your seatbelt on the passenger.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And he took it in like twice.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, she used to go for car rides. I said, when are you going to stop and get her a pup cup?
Oh.
And he just looked at me. She says, she can't eat it. I said, spiritually, all you have to go is, imagine it and say, here you go.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, good.
Yeah, because my one dog, she wants treats still.
Yeah.
And imagine like picking it out of the bag and throwing it in spirit.
I'm gonna do that. That's cool.
You can do that.
I sometimes watch YouTubes if I don't have anything to do, which is rare. And there's some of the ones of abuse that the abuse things are saved. It's heart-wrenching. I mean, like this one person heard a puppy in the dumpster and it was in a freaking Ziploc baggie. And it's like, what is wrong? Why do people do that?
I have worked
and their skin and bones.
Yeah,
and they'll lay down. Oh.
My friend, she's a foster mom for rescue, and because of her, I can do live animals because we've been sisters, not biological, for many years, and my heart goes out to what she's doing. And couple times they put the rescue dogs in training and everything, and she had a litter and she successfully mothered the litter, but it was because of my friend who gave her the energy to not get, I don't know how to put it. She had mental disease from all the trauma.
Oh.
And the day that they went to go to get her spaded so she could be adopted, she just went nuts and attacked everybody and they put her down. And my friend was very, very upset. And I said, no, she held it together to raise those puppies because of your love. I said, because of your love. You were the grounder that kept her from that. And then when she knew she was going to be taken away from you, she didn't have that connection anymore to stay grounded like that.
Yeah.
So then they called the rescue, called her up and had told her what happened. And she was just like taking it like she'd done something. And I'm like, no. You saved those puppies because now they had a mother to stay calm enough to nurse them, to let them grow. I said, if you didn't come in her life, they would all have been nursed by bottles and she would have been put down sooner.
Yeah. Lucas got this dog from the SPCA, relatively large dog that was kind of red color. Very odd dog because I don't even remember her name, but he would have to carry her everywhere because she could walk, but, and then one time I wanted to introduce Bella to her. She was on Lucas's bed and I was, look, here's your sister. And she ran. I thought, oh my God, she's
Her
going to.
insecurities. She had so many
Oh, she must
insecurities.
have been abused or something.
She was. She was.
So we took her back and she was probably put down, unfortunately, but it was.
But sometimes that's for the best, you know, because my dream is to do pit bull rescue.
Yeah.
Because I raised them for 30 years and they got
Very
such a bad rep.
misunderstood
Just their
breed.
dog, right.
Very misunderstood.
And someone said, well, you know, there's going to be bad dogs.
Yeah.
And they'll have to be put down. And I said, okay, I understand that because I was given a dog or I adopted a dog and now I adopted her and her foster care person was a county sheriff. Well, one time our neighbor came in the door and he had a hat on and winter gloves on and she went nuts. And I'm like, okay, there's something that triggered her. And I want to say this first off, it is very hard to channel your own dogs or your own kids
Yeah.
because you're so close to them that
Yeah.
I have to go to somebody to channel my dogs. And so I called up the rescue and I said, please have the foster parent. Well, she was used for a bait dog down in Texas.
Oh no.
And when they would pick them up to use them for bait, they had the hat and gloves on so they didn't get hurt.
Oh.
So every time somebody would visit, I say, please don't come in with a ball cap and please don't come in with especially leather gloves.
How awful.
And, you know, and we did well, but she had really bad attitude. And I was the one that I'm not giving up. And I ended up watching grandbabies and she did not like babies. So when they came, I had made a special area in my bed that through my channel, Pet Communicator, she told her when she gets frustrated and upset, go in the bedroom and lay on the bed. That's your safe zone. No babies will go in there. And once my granddaughter turned about 3, her best friend, she just didn't like babies. Once they talked, she, you know, and up to the day that she passed over, you know, my granddaughter walked in the room, that was her person.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, my first dog as a kid was a German Shepherd, and my father just bought one because he wanted the protection because our house was burglarized several times, and her name was Lindy. He was a puppy when we got her, but anyway, I went to Rice University. When I came back one day, they had relegated him to the small area where there was the compost heap. And I saw her bowl of feed and water. The bowl of feed was just full of maggots. It was they totally ignored him. It was just so sad. So anyway, they gave him away to the police department, but he was so disturbed by gunfire, he didn't pass the exam. So he lived out his days with an old lady. So he
lived happily.
Yeah.
He said it took that to get where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
I've heard of dogs going through very abusive situations, being put back into the, humane societies to get that one right person for the rest of their life.
Yeah, that's good.
You see, so now my goal has changed from rescuing pit bulls is I want to do once I get my own home again is fostering senior dogs. And someone says, well, they're all going to die on you. And I said, if they die happy, and I'm going to cry. I cry with every dog. I cried the day the cows had to do what we had to do.
Yeah.
You know, I cried every time I had to pick up a dead chicken. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but if I can give you the last year or 2 of your life in peace and knowing you are loved, what better? Look at how many senior citizens of humans don't know that when they pass.
No.
And that is one thing. A lot of the dogs go sit on their bellies and hug them. You know, if they were like, say, a dog person and they got dementia and now they're laying in bed, there will be animals that will go there. It's really weird. I just seen an ostrich go to this lady and put its neck across in spirit.
Oh.
Something she connected with, I guess, maybe growing up that she loved them.
Yeah.
And that is part of their spirit job when they pass over. Not all of them, you know, if you had an attachment, they're going to come, you know, like my one dog, her name was Miss Kitty, but she totally acted like a cat. That's how she got her name.
Wow.
I'm allergic to cats. And when she had passed over and I says, you know, are you coming back? She's like, no, Mom, I got work to do. I got work to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I'm
have
too
a
busy with God
friend.
right now.
I have a friend that takes her golden retriever to the nursing homes, and
Yep.
yeah, it's quite effective, and the older people
It
just
is.
love it. Now,
When
puppy
you're
mill.
transitioning in death as a human, what radiates with you will come to you. If it's guardian angels, if it's animals, you know,
Yeah.
being surrounded. I had people that wanted to be like in paradise with chimpanzees, and that's how they wanted to transition to the next life. That you know,
Wow.
they, you know, whatever helps their transition faster, or not faster, but calmer, peaceful. You know, like maybe Erik, you know, him
Yeah.
and his darn elephants.
Yeah.
You know, something about an elephant that he probably had in his human lifetime that, you
Yeah.
know, will catch it, you know, oh, there's an elephant. And then, you know, maybe studied them, I don't know, but you know, everybody has something inside deep that we really don't know.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
certain animal that will cross your path, either be a blue jay, a cardinal, inchworm,
Yeah.
or you know, a bug. You know, certain bugs go, you know, we all jump up, but we should actually say, hey, just go on your way and leave me alone, you know?
Yeah. Even roaches. We had this one roach that when we were sitting outside, we called him Freddie, would go the same path in front of us and stuff. He stopped coming. I don't know what happened to him. But pet puppy mills, they are very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Awful. I've seen the videos.
Yes.
When will we learn?
My main question when I was doing my intermediate courses, I have problems with that because I says, why, you know, everyone says, God, why did we do this in our life? Why did we do this? And I have I says, why is this happening on this earth, God? You know, this is disturbing. And believe it or not, they sign up to do this and to teach a lesson. And sometimes the lesson is to understand what it's like to be on that end, to maybe want to come back and for reward, get the most loving family.
Yeah.
You know, everybody in my family, we have a family joke that if they die, they want to come back as Patty's dog, my mom, because they're spoiled, rotten. I mean, the best treats for
Awesome.
me. You know, each have their own little beds, and everyone's like, we want to be Patty's dog when we come
Oh,
back.
that's so
You know,
cute.
life of luxury. But I have the other day I was driving to my daughter's house and a cargo of cows going to slaughter. I had to pull over in the side of the road and just bawl my eyes out. I felt everything. And that's why I took some classes to learn how to keep myself centered, not to get overwhelmed when I see things like that. I cannot watch a commercial. It goes off immediately.
No, I mean, they did a study trying to figure out if it would be better for like a hog to be slaughtered in front of his group or alone. I don't remember the results, but anyway, we need to sign off here pretty soon because I have a session with Courtney at 11. So anyway, where can people reach you? Of course, you could click on the team on the Atlanta Scalar site and find her, but how else?
That's the only way I have it right now because putting myself out to the world. I just have that email address.
Okay.
And it's on your website. And I will email them back with how I'm going about doing the introduction.
Okay.
And down the road, I would like to do, like you said, if you could get questions passed over a month and come back with you and let's help some of these people because I hear very loudly there's a lot of your followers that saying, what if I did this or what if I did that?
I know.
And they want to
maybe
know.
we'll have them live sometime where people can. That would be cool.
Yeah, we can do that too. But
Thank
yeah,
you,
I
Cheryl.
appreciate you coming out and I thank Erik for that meeting to say, hey, Cheryl, get your butt out there. You've been hiding for 30 years.
That's awesome.
You know, this world needs us and our animals need us.
Oh God, yes.
And you got
reach out to me when you're ready to do a live. I'm going on
and there's a kitty cat right behind you right now.
Who?
A kitty cat. It's on your
probably Bluebell because she would sit on Erik's lap while he was doing homeschool work and I mean on his shoulders.
Like that. Yeah, she's like that with your back of your hair.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah, and that's how to reach me through that. And I don't know, I could put the email address in the bottom in the comments too.
All right. Thank
But I
you.
appreciate the time, and
We
Eric, thank
appreciate
you for making me laugh this morning.
It's so good to have an animal communicator on the team. Thank you,
And
Cheryl.
believe me, your animals, oh, one last thing, they don't hear you. They feel you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you got to do it like in a picture, not in words. So if you need to tell your animal something, tell it through the heart. And if you're leaving, don't say days, say sunups and sundowns.
Oh,
They don't understand time.
awesome. Of course not.
Oh,
We barely
okay.
do. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.